What's up, everybody? Matt Yari coming at you with another little YouTube video for you. Leaving the gym now, as I tend to be when I make these videos. I really don't know what I'm about to talk about, so I'm just gonna let my mind unwind in real time, because I'm on the grind. I hope this video is a good find. That's the last of the rhymes that I could think of. Hope you enjoyed it. Did not start this video to rap for you, even though it's kind of spontaneously went that way. I'm feeling very, very good. As you may know, I've been building up my shoulder from an injury from a few weeks ago, and I'm extremely happy with where my shoulder is at. I'm essentially back to normal, to be perfectly honest. Not 100%, but pretty much there. You know, it's an interesting thing that happens when you get injured. There's this fear that you'll never recover. Maybe it's just me. That first day when it was injured and I literally couldn't move my arm, you know, there's this fear that, oh, well, I guess this is the rest of my life. I just don't have a left arm anymore. But it's been getting a lot better, and I'm really excited to get back into martial arts. It's something that really brings a lot of happiness in my life. Just makes me feel good. So I'm excited to get back into that probably in 2 days. I'm going to do some yoga tomorrow as a good way of, again, continuing to strengthen the shoulder. And that'll be good for some jiu-jitsu in 2 days. What else? I'm trying to shoot my first sketch. I have an idea for some sketch comedy. I think it would be very fun. And this is my first time trying to organize that. So it's kind of a new thing. And I mean, it's not that crazy. I just need to invite people over for a barbecue, which shouldn't be too hard. But I threw out the first couple of invitations earlier today. And we'll see who I can get to show up. The premise of the sketch is a barbecue. So hopefully you'll see it. What else? What else is on my mind? I'd say overall I'm doing a better job of being productive with my time. Could definitely be better. The hardest part is really the mornings. Getting out of bed and getting going early in the morning. I think that might have to do with, was it 2 nights ago? Yeah, 2 nights ago I did not really sleep very well. So I probably just had to make up for it last night. It was hard for me to fall asleep 2 nights ago. So I kind of slept in today and it threw me off. Checking out a lady over there. She was fairly attractive. What else is on my mind? Come on, brain, say something interesting. I started listening to a book, an audio book by Jed McKenna. It's called Spiritual Enlightenment is the Darndest Thing. It was a recommendation. And, you know, I would consider myself a very spiritual person. And it's hard to really, you know, one thing he kind of opens up the book with is like, what does that really mean? And I've been thinking about that as well. I'm not entirely sure. I guess for starters, for me, it means that, at the very least, everything, all of reality, is not merely a physical phenomenon, otherwise known as materialism. I believe very strongly, and I have had some experiences which really have led me to believe that there is some sort of a metaphysical reality. And that it's all unified as God, something like that. It's hard to put it into words. I don't really subscribe to a religion. I guess I would say I believe in God. I would say I believe in God. I believe all religions describe this phenomenon of God, this unifying consciousness. But what are the real implications of it? Like, what he talks about people who call themselves spiritual, and that really ends up being almost like a series of platitudes, just a series of essentially rhetoric. But what do you do with it? What are the actual implications? I do think at the very least, baseline spiritual work should help you untangle some of your emotions, right? I think there's definitely a tendency for a lot of people to have certain emotional attachments. Things will really, really upset them, and they'll start freaking out and getting very emotional for something that didn't necessarily deserve it. I think the more you do spiritual work, the more you're at peace with those things, and you're able to respond to those situations a little more peacefully, and maybe in ways that are more less destructive for yourself and the other people involved, if it's a personal situation. But then there's other levels to it, and that's when it gets a little more, what's the word? A little more fuzzy, esoteric, vague. And I think it's easy to get lost in those weeds. And so it's been an interesting book so far. Or it's a book about spiritual enlightenment, but he starts off by kind of shitting on spiritual enlightenment and how, for many people it just becomes another identity. It becomes really the opposite of what it's supposed to be. It's this thing that you're striving for. It's a badge of honor for a lot of spiritual people. And, I've certainly acted in that way or have had similar beliefs. But I'm trying to develop some self-awareness around that. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say about that right now. Doing my spiritual work. Or maybe I'm not supposed to be doing spiritual work. There's other people who just say that just your life, whatever it is, even if you're a crackhead, is your spiritual work. Right? That's just your spiritual experience. I don't know. But I'm also supposed to do a podcast in 20 minutes, so I need to take a shower. I just remembered that. So, thank you for listening. Peace out.